Have you ever been sued?
Well, it happens now every project.
We discussed Zakopane and
Yes,
that.
because then it.
How did you like it? How did you like it? Because people don't know. What's your opinion about this?
Well, I was
beautiful
shocked
city?
in Zakopane. Zakopane is almost like a red flag.
Cześć! Dzisiaj wyjątkowy odcinek z kilku względów. Przede wszystkim jest tu ze mną Winy Maas, czyli gwiazda architektury współczesnej, założyciel MVRDV, czyli jednej z najlepszych pracowni na świecie. Prosto z Rotterdamu przyjechał tutaj do nas na 4 Design Days i dzięki Fundacji Ładnie jest tutaj ze mną w samochodzie. Także zostańcie z nami, bo to będzie wyjątkowy odcinek. Dzięki Fundacji Ładnie jest ze mną Winy Maas. So now, Winy, how do you feel about Poland and all the 4 Design Days action and that you were here?
Well, I don't know exactly to tell a lot about Poland in general because I didn't see everything yet. But it was when I was it was fun. It was very good for many reasons. I think that, of course, to give a lecture, for me personally, also to do an effort in this week where we face so many global changes in Palestine, in Kiev, the bombardment, and in the appearance of Trump.
Yeah, new president.
With all its decrees immediately. So, and that gave me then also the inspiration to talk here on this place about Europe.
Yeah, it was very special lecture.
Yeah.
But I wanted to stay with 4 Design Days because you go around the world. So do you often go to such event like this one, that you have a fair, but also you have a lot of lectures, meetings with great architects like yourself, and Kengo Kuma was here, and other best architects from Poland. So could you compare it with something that happened also is happening in the world?
Well, there's of course you have the big fairs like MIPIM and Expo Real, and then anyway, when you give a speech there, and you are surrounded by noise, because it's like in the middle of the fair, people just walk by and go further, and you have to almost yell out to get the attention. So the good part in 4DD was that it's that the conferences were not on the show where people were walking only, but just aside, and it made it also more concentrative, and I think that's needed. And it was good because it was a kind of open corner, so there were lots of people that came. So that is also different from that kind of environments, and it was quite well organized. When I compared it, last I spoke in Prague in design block, and that was kind of beautiful. It was super improvised. It was like when I arrived there, it was in the cellar, like in the corner, and then they said, oh, we expected that only like 20 people would come, and then we would have a kind of small talk, so you had only a kind of television screen. So I said, no, you cannot do that, and so we reorganized that cellar immediately. It was getting chairs everywhere. We made a mess basically out of the space to fulfill then ultimately, the amount of people that came, and also the atmosphere of a kind of dialogue that was happening. So now it's different. It was more theatrical in your case, but I found a way to talk with the people, with this audience. I have the feeling.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, incredible speech. People were really fascinated what you said because it was very personal, I guess, and about straight from the heart. That new changes, approaches, that the situation in US, that we have to change us, and that Europe should unite. And so I'm very grateful that you came for our invitation for Ładnie Foundation, and that we had this great opportunity to meet because it's
but it was
fantastic.
also, I mean, you can maybe the listener or the viewer might wonder what can an architect say about say politics or about European Union, but I try to explain it in a spatial way. What can we do as architects in order to make this quality of Europe, to make it even more special? I mean, I believe and love Europe because it's so many differences, and in language, in culture, in architecture and in urban treatment, let me say it that way, and if it exists in certain cases. And so I put the finger, I think, especially on two elements, on urbanism as a tool to enlarge that specificities, if it's Katowice or Krakow, or if it's Prague or if it's Amsterdam, then because there's a tendency, of course, to make cities more generic. You see everywhere currently blocks coming, grids, and of course there are slightly more trees in the streets than before. There is a green roof on top of it. They make it out of wood, but then with square windows again, and it's all the same. And I think it deserves more character, and that can be done by looking to the qualities of the cities and the differentiation, as well. Give a way for local architects and designers also to work.
I really love this idea of Mannheim, that this military base that you changed so much. I mean, the design and that this very simple houses that were multiplied. Yeah. And were dual and white, and you gave light to it. So basically, I talked with people from Mannheim, and they said that they really loved this area and this new zone, and they said that they like to spend time there. So architect can change completely approach to a place that used to be just dull and not boring and give it light, give it life, and you change the parking lots to places that there are trees and plants and people love it. So although it's difficult to get there because they say they don't have a parking spots there too easily, but they
could
love
take a tram
or a
that's
bike,
what we managed also, or a bike. It's a flat country. And it's areas, and it's easy to go around. So
this is a big question here in Poland, that what to do with our cities, because before communist there was in communist time it was 2.5 million cars in Poland. Right now it's 27 million cars. So
1 to 1.
It's a really big problem right now.
Even your children are driving cars.
Almost, almost, yeah. Some people, they have like 3-4 cars in their family, so that's becoming a problem. And Polish people are not so keen on the idea of changing it. Could you have some advice about how to approach that?
Well, I can tell about certain techniques that we also applied in the Netherlands on such a kind of issue. But one, of course, is what you see also, we experience now, that we're in a traffic jam. So it's kind of which is annoying, and it happens also in Czech Republic with the D1. It's like also overloaded, and when you go to Brno, I mean, it's a kind of wall of lorries that cannot cross, or that cannot pass away. So somehow this kind of disasters help. I remember we were advising for a city in the northern part of the Netherlands, in Groningen, and to pedestrianize that. But then there was a referendum and they voted against that. So what we talked with the alderman and with the mayor, what should we do now the coming 5 years, because we cannot do it. And he said, maybe we do all the traffic lights, we stop them functioning.
And see how it goes.
Right. That was terrific. After a year, they were so pissed off that everybody that they were yelling for a tramway and for pedestrianization. So then we could go on. So it took a year. So it's a bit of a kind of a apocalyptic technique that you see happening. It doesn't work always because in climate change also this warning of the Club of Rome and after. I mean, some people are simply pissed off by it and they get a fatigue out of it.
And something less radical? Do you have any other ideas?
Well, what normally very much helps is showing the alternatives. That is simply nice city where you can bike or where you can. In Paris now, the success of of the past is so enormous, and secondly, already built tramways, like the tramway in Bordeaux, was an instant success after it's built. So there is it depends a bit on the zone
case,
and on the case.
What we were thinking with initiative ŁADNIE was that we need to make more lectures, because as you noticed, because we were visiting Auschwitz in Birkenau, and there's a new pavilion, and people there don't know who designed it, because in Poland architecture is not something important for the people, so we decided that we might approach them, make some seminars, go outside of the architecture world, architecture bubble, to go to other arts, and that's the whole idea.
I think it's super important to go out and to make it accessible of people. I remember that in Rotterdam, like 10 years ago, when we started with the rooftop days, which was like so there's one weekend in the year, and we invited people to come on the roofs of Rotterdam. Rotterdam, because of the bombardment, has the highest amount of flat roofs, I think, in the world, in a city, and they're not so used. But when you go up, you have a phenomenal view over the city, and so the film, this festival, over the years, was also like a proclamation or a manifesto to see it as a podium, to the roof as a podium, and also to advocate more density on the roof, so that people could build on top of it, or can use it as parks, or use it as water basins for our water storage, and for access. So we did over the year, we did interventions. So from, say, theater on the roof to make, I think, the most public stair ever made in the planet after the.
You know, I'm laughing because the first thought that we had in the ŁADNIE initiative is go to the roof and make a party there.
Yes,
because in Katowice we have a lot of nice.
But make this stair, because then people feel free to go up.
Yeah.
And also, what happened in the days of the stair, because that was every year we do another kind of statement. So in the case of the stair, it was on the station square, just after the terror acts in the station of Cologne. So it was also an act of courage.
Courage to encourage people to come.
And yes, and it was safe. So we had a lot of police issues or elements around it, hidden, and safety, and we had a lot of, say, also
but
medical
who
elements.
financed it?
This is
government, or
this was mixed. I mean, the government financed it partly, and also a series of builders, real estate people.
Because what we also discussed earlier.
But I want to finish that because I think the listener want to hear. I mean, the stair was one, but a year later we make bridges between the roofs.
Yeah.
And made a walk. Yeah. And it's with prefab on like, and people love that again. You know, you see that people start to love the city, make viewpoints selfish. There were concerts on it, and it was. But actually, it's about densification of the city. So it made the city more popular and more acceptable.
But you work very closely with the city, and the city is open for such ideas.
Rotterdam has indeed a very open setting. It is. It has not an historical town, so not frozen. So it was, I think it invented the technique of making beautiful interventions in a city. So that comes out of nostalgia in a way, because the bombardment has given also some pain, and now they want to improve the city, and by this kind of interventions, that can be architecture, can be museums, can be whatever that is in the city, makes the city very prominent in its interaction. Well, you can go around there now. You see that actually, the city is an urbanism of the collection, of the Rotterdam collection of interventions, and that makes it kind of exciting. You see architecture that you haven't seen before. It's fresh, and all the generations that work on the city in these 50 years are also participating. So I can see the style of the 70s, and I respect it with my market hall. The window towards this 70s shows also the beauty of the 70s. So it's a kind of respect, mutual respect, that is what this collection is giving, and that's new, I think. That is done by authors, by good architects, by good artists, and that then you also respect their work, and that's the principle, the fundament of combining diversity with direction.
with respect. Yeah, I guess so. I must tell you that I already told you that, but okay, two topics actually right now.
Go ahead.
The first, okay, let's keep the first topic because I was talking about the money, which is an issue. But what is interesting is that we were also discussing the money from the government for the young studios. That so it's something different from Poland. That in Holland you have such opportunity that the Ministry of Arts, right, culture is giving money to architects for development, the young ones.
Well, it gives in general. There is a good fund, so in general it's good to raise funds for architecture and art. Can be private, can be public. In this case, it's a public fund, the Stimuleringsfonds, and they're young artists and but also young architects can ask for a budget to have a publication, to make a film, to have an exhibition, and that helps enormously especially for young architects to speak out, because it's for everybody can do it. You see also the diversity of architecture increasing, and also the architects involved, the young they know that they have to specialize in order to be different, in order to be deep.
Right.
So I think for a country that's very helpful to have a variety of architects so that you can work not only on one style, which happens so much in Germany, but in the case of like celebrating the difference that is there, and encouraging them to create more quality with that language that they have. Right. So that is how much do they get? I think it's something like 25,000 euros to do it, and I find that a beautiful tool. So it's amazing because it's not only the fund; it's also the criteria, also the committee that's behind it that changes over time. So it should not be the dinosaurs on the architects.
Only one type of.
That has created over 30 years, I think, now that it exists. A continuous emerging factory of architects.
I'm saying it because money right now is a big issue in Poland. Not only architects are having problems with supporting themselves, but in this case they have no chance for any experiments, for any research, any time for books. I mean, like to discover, to push forward this.
And they also go in a trap. Because in order to get on the first commissions, they meet developers and sometimes the most terrible ones. And then they are forced to do bad buildings, almost.
And finally their backbone is broken and they just keep doing it.
That's what you said, beautifully said, the backbone is what we have to build up. We are the physiotherapists of our society.
So this is something that it's really important, and that's what Prowadząc Architekturę and Fundacja ŁADNIE is fighting for, to make some changes. And I think the spreading of the information is so important, because during the 4 design days we had so many talks and there were so many different approaches, not only to architecture but also to the problem of politics. There was Anna who spoke that from Georgia, that she was running for a mayor of Tbilisi, and that it's really important that architects also involved in some politician.
Well, she made a very beautiful statement, I would say, and I confirmed that also publicly, which is kind of dangerous, but it's like she said we have to work on communities, and communities are the base of democracy, and can in their emancipation, to use that word, can grow to a strong voice in society. I found it so beautiful that she said that, and I can understand in a situation like Georgia that is heavily under attack, and that needs support to do that. And also it's a message also for us wealthier countries, and somehow
to support
safe. Not only to support them, also look to ourselves. because we don't give so much support to communities. The developers are skeptical. They think, oh my God, they're going to complain. I want to do my thing, so I'm not going to do that. So they tell to the mayor, don't give me this kind of burden. I want to go through it. There are politicians that are also saying, some of them, I want to do action, and then I have to talk with people too long, then I cannot do that. So it says also something about us. How can we make a society where the participation is fully integrated, somehow respected, without of becoming blocked. So I know that in Switzerland there's you have referendums. In my architecture practice, I had like already 10 referendums, and 5 of them were not against me, but against the idea of building there, etc.
Moreover, that you need to make not a model, but
the one-to-one model
structure, one-to-one,
model.
It have to stay there. And
you can talk about it.
People walk beside it and say, "Oh, I don't like this because it's going to block my favorite view on this mountain, and so I don't allow it."
Although it can also be beautiful. You touch a little bit cynical tone now in your observation, but I think adaptation of our volumes to certain kind of qualities that you have not seen before, and that it maybe comes from the neighborhood, is also fair. And I give you an example. We make a building in Rotterdam, the Depot, which is the archive of contemporary art, which is like a big bowl of mirrors that mirror the city, because it was the place where people were escaping to during the bombardment. So when the flames were in the back, it's a beautiful picture of the past, of that moment where thousands of people were on this meadow, and on the back you saw the whole city in flames. And then to have an open depot, that's very symbolic. That all our richness, our collection of art, that's hidden normally in a barrack somewhere outside, that you put it there on this place where the flames have not come, and then but you can then access freely, and then to surround it with a mirror that reflects the growing of the city as a compensation of it. This wederopbouw, what we call it, the wiederaufbouw, that created a certain kind of pride among people. But next door was the main hospital now, which I like, because I hate that hospitals are outside of the city more and more these days because of traffic jams. And I think it's fantastic if you can bike to the hospital to deliver a baby. No, that's kind of
That's radical.
I did it. We did it, and we were there. And
really,
during a kermis that was happening, the babies, my twins came there.
Incredible.
But then there was one institute in that mega hospital next door. Well, I have a relationship with the hospital, not only because of the delivery and the twins and the but also because at a certain moment, together with Adriaan Geuze, we were supervising the center of the city, and we told the hospital, you must be happy that you're in the city. No, I want to go. No, you have to be happy. But you have to behave a little bit like a citizen. So we want to have 2 streets through your Moloch, through your big building.
Okay.
So which is like cuts through the building. They had a 2 billion operation of buildings to make it done, but the cuts are made. The 2 passages are made. So it happened. So we had a relationship. So on the street level. Yeah, on street level. And I think you would enjoy that passage that goes through it. It becomes an urban passages in the cross that connects north and south and east and west. So I was called by, at that moment, the hospital client, by the director of the client. He said, "Come on, I have one professor here. He's next to the depot, and he's complaining. He goes to court." I said, "What? Why? Tell me. I don't understand the issue." And he said, "No, he has this group, it's a psychiatry for children, and and this reflection of the depot will kill his therapy." He said, "Why? It's the sun there's a because normally these kids like sun. No, it's not the sun. The kids can see the city from the garden, from the therapy room, and then they see too much movement, trams, life,
Okay.
kermes, etc. Oh, is that all? Is that all? So we did what we do. We calculated
All right.
any corner from and we
view.
blocked the view on the mirror with a film,
Okay.
a translucent film.
All right.
So now you can see on the dish, on the bowl, you can see a cloud.
Okay.
That is, and people wonder why is the cloud.
Why?
But this is, I would say, what participation also can give. It gives a
Sure.
nuance to the building. It anchors the building in an environment. The art is, and that's how I hope that you can see that, before we get cynical, is that you train both the community as the
to
artist,
change them, but
that
also
how to keep concepts,
bend to
how
needs.
that a concept can partly adapt or
Sure.
with it, and then it becomes interesting, because then the building becomes richer and has more stories to tell. And that's in architecture, in the end, is storytelling. So that's a kind of way of building up the whole background and usage and interpretation of that spot, and by and through architecture.
See. Well, have you ever been sued?
Well, it happens now every project. So that's became standard.
That's what I thought. I
Yeah.
mean that
But it's not only because of
also
me.
happening in Poland that
Yeah.
almost everything is being sued. There's always some claims and
Well, people look for money and they try to blame if it's the contractor or
so
is it
how
the
you are
architect.
handling it?
Well, we have a lawyer in house to start
Sure.
up with that. Start with that. You have good contracts.
Yeah.
Contracts to organize that. And what I think is most important is that there are enough lawyers and enough judges
Okay.
because this kind of processes should not take too long.
Mhm.
For otherwise the building starts to be delayed too much. Otherwise, and it can lead to compromises. It's happily with the
Okay,
law
so you
system in the
find
Netherlands.
you find solutions.
It becomes a
before.
tool. It becomes a tool.
Okay.
Not only for
time factor.
a time factor, but also a tool
Mhm.
to mitigate between, it depends on who's complaining, but say between the community or the user and the maker. And that can be very complex. So I think to build up a law system that can nuance that, for me, is completely fine. So the municipalities use them in order to be sober, to be neutral. So they need the verdict of a judge to let him or her say that they do okay or not okay. So so it's kind of tests of it. So when the law system, and I know here there was quite a dispute in Poland on your overviewers and some of the judges.
That's one thing, but to be honest, like just stepping aside the political issue,
political.
who is right or who is not right. The thing is that people were saying they want in Poland. It's also the word is tricky because they said they want free judges, right? Free law, independent.
It should be independent of politics.
But the words also mean slow. And what happened is that we have very slow, very free, but very slow. So like if you go to court, it takes years and years.
But that was my first.
Personally, we are in court. We designed a building and we wanted to get our commission. We did everything properly, correct. But the government said that of the city, they said that it's too expensive, the building, so they decided not to pay us.
So,
and we went to court. It took us 5 years. We won the first
then you go to the high court.
but now we will go to the high court. And for 1 year we were waiting for the writing
of the claim or the disclaim. That's why I said immediately. So, we discussed now two things. On one hand, to put money in your stimuleringsfonds to stimulate young architects.
Yeah.
Secondly, we want money to have more judges.
Yeah.
So to make a kind of very vivid judging system, and in a complex society, and especially in a participative, wealthy society.
Yeah.
So there, where people have
Where Poland is going.
for sure. We come back to that later. But there is I mean, people study more than ever, go to schools, so they become also, they can speak out better, and they can organize better. So it's
They're
simply
more informed,
better
organized.
So as a society, we have to also take the consequences of that.
Yeah.
And to say, okay, then we organize also a better, say, juridical system to be applied, to have a kind of a fair system, to have it combined with speed, I agree, otherwise it becomes too slow down, and to build up also the role of responsibility, the common ground. That's because that's another one. Your country is coming from the communist time.
Yep.
It is
hard.
So you love freedom.
So yeah, that is a good thing and a bad. It could be a bad thing. We discussed Zakopane, and
Yes,
that.
because then it.
How did you like it? How did you like it? Because people don't know. What's your opinion about this?
Well, I was
beautiful
shocked
city?
in Zakopane because it was so huge and it was killing the mountains, basically, in its architecture, in its kind of almost wild west of architecture that I can
That's
see.
what I said, that prawo się nie przyjęło w Zakopanem, that the law is not existing in Zakopane, and they just do whatever they want, and you can see it on the streets, and that there's no plan, there's no.
So I doubt about it. Maybe it's good to have one place like that. That's fair. That's okay. But if you think about another place, and if you want to do a kind of concept of respecting the mountain, respecting how
The
could
nature.
you do? How can you
Actually, the reason why people were coming there for the first place, right?
you reduce that? That's what this concept shows. I would love to
But
make
this
it,
would
but
reduce their freedom, and
that's
this is
the price of the freedom.
that's the problem, right?
Well, so
I mean,
if
you have to balance it, basically, right? That you need to have a or plan for the spread of the city, or how it's going to be. That there need to be some restraints, and in those restraints you can do a lot.
what we do
still,
at the moment in the for mountain zone on the Adriatic coast is for a German client is to make a resort which is invisible. So
it's possible also.
you will see
Yeah.
it.
All right.
Because it's I think it's beautiful. You know, like only hotel rooms, and it's I mean, you basically when you have the hill or the slope, you make 4 meters higher the slope, and there you make a new nature,
All right, on there.
and they make pockets out of it, so that you have patios with a view towards the Adriatic in this case, to make it. But you can walk over the roof. Goats can go over it. You can make honey over this mountain, and that. I mean, I remember that my client initially it was Russian, and it was taken over by a German client, and he was angry. He said, "Well, where is my resort?" And he said, "No, that's exactly the point.
That's what we wanted to achieve.
Imagine the James Bond film next time. You come home and you see this resort. You get so one shot of a James Bond movie on your site, and you will be rich.
Yeah.
So there was a.
And you convinced it.
Yeah. So that was
With that one,
and that was
with
a
that
beautiful
line.
one. So I think also in ski areas you can make a much more interesting integration of it. And honestly, you don't have that many ski resorts in your country.
No, not at all.
And the snow is melting.
Yeah, it is.
So it's quite rare, and that's why then for me the word Zakopane is almost like a red flag in terms of ecological, and still I can combine it with freedom interpretation. Still I can combine it with the wish of a certain client to do whatever. I mean, I can cut that nature in the form of a star.
I'm saying it's a problem with the freedom of people, but it's only perception or the convincing them that there are other ways, other solutions.
Well, we started the discussion with traffic, and that apocalyptic tools are then helping. In a way,
Alright.
When you cover all your mountains, then now you're looking for places where it's not happening.
It's not happening.
I think the next phase, of course, is your
said,
lakes.
You said
your
about
lake district.
Bieszczady in
Yeah.
Poland. We keep saying that if something goes wrong in your life, and or you don't like your job, you say, "Screw it, I'm going to Bieszczady," because it's a place for peace and it's not that overcrowded, but still it's happening because it's getting more and more popular and people are going there, and soon maybe if we are not going to preserve it, if we are not going to think about it properly, it also will be gone.
Oh, you see it in more places. I mean, also Slovakia, these kind of things happen.
Sure,
places
all around the world.
And I think Aspen changed a little bit for the good, but it was kind of hyper rich. So I think Zermatt has also very strict rules on keeping this kind of village feeling. In a way, it's like almost like Venice. You have to park your car downstairs and go up. But that's also the character. You can walk or ski through it, and that's
all you can do.
And Verbier is a bit Zakopane. So it's kind of so there's it depends a bit where you. But there are different exercises to do that. But we are dreaming. Once because I work for the Avenir Suisse, for the Future of Switzerland committee, and we did a publication on Stadtland Schweiz, so the landscape city of Switzerland. Switzerland is one of the valleys are the densest parts. They are denser than the Netherlands, but they have the mountains, so then compensates a little bit. So we tried to, but in one of the studies we did was to what happens if we have to replace Zermatt or Gstaad in the future and to up 3,000 somehow.
Right.
So which it could be interesting, but then you have to make a city out of ice. Like as a dream is kind of what can that be? That the ice still will be there. That you don't that you avoid the heat effect of the cities which you normally have, urban heat effect. What does that then need? Flat stones, kind of thing. Other kind of pavements to concentrate wind to cool down a certain way, to icify
the others,
and etc. So there was a complete study how to integrate it on higher mountain to have a kind of again an almost invisible city.
You make a lot of calculations in your work, right? A lot of thoughts, and you invest a lot in programs that do you use
software.
AI right now in supporting
yes, we do.
your
We
work?
well on a couple of specific ways, because everybody tries to do with AI different things, and one is that we train AI in making images for MVRDV style.
Okay.
So that is what and also we train AI to do it text-wise in MVRDV style. And my writing is in a kind of haiku
I was
style.
more thinking about like you're famous for futuristic approach to cities. To I remember this great lecture 15 years ago in Warsaw.
Was it better than yesterday?
Well, yesterday you gave me completely different ideas, and maybe I'm on the, each time I approach you, I'm in different level, I'm in a different place, right?
Phase of your life also.
Yeah, and the architecture. So right now I needed something else. Like 15 years ago, I was thinking about the future of Poland and that we were very polluted and that we need to look for some other choices. So when I came to your lecture and you told me that you were thinking about the pigs who are making methane and that we can use it as a fuel and that you can charge with that a lot of things and that the building can then work, and at first it was like very strange idea and it was impossible. Then I start to think about it. I maybe in the same time I watch Mad Max 3 and it turns out that was the concept. I start reading about it and it turns out it's possible, and actually that cities produce a lot of energy, that we are sitting on energy, and when we go to the toilet, we eat food from the restaurant, the oils and so on. So it turns out that the Tychy project that we were on, and it was very close to my heart because it's close to my hometown. Basically, we did a water park that produced twice as much energy as it consumes. We are sharing energy with the city. We are heating the hot water during the summer is being given to the city. The trolley buses are running on our electricity. So it turns out that what you said, it was true, and it was possible and feasible, and actually it was perfect. So in that period of time, it was very, very important for me, for my company, and for future, because now we are getting calls from all over the world saying, how did you do that? Because it was successful not only in the matter of natural resources and what we achieved, but also that it was really good for business. Basically, after 4.5 years, it was all the debts were paid back. So many investors now are saying, oh, so it's good to do it, and not only in the matter of let's say idea to clean the world, to use, but it's free energy, that it's just in the front of your footsteps, and you are wasting. Our phrase was stop wasting the waste, because it's
Beautiful.
energy. So it's all because of your lecture, and I think it's so incredible that you go around, and I'm sure that yesterday, after this lecture, a lot of people had new thoughts, and they were inspired by your words, and we'll see in 15 years what can happen, like how many new buildings, how you change approach of so many young architects, but also the older ones, because I was also inspired by what you said yesterday, especially Mannheim, because right now we are sitting on a project that is about 30 hectares of land, and like, it's great opportunity. I love projects in Poland because everything is happening, but it's a huge responsibility not to screw it, right? Not to blow it. So because we are on Vision, I can say it, that Winy said that he's going to be involved in that project, and he promised to look at it. So because our policy in our bureau is that if many people have the same good idea, it means if they agree that this something is working, then it's going to work. And that's why I'm so keen to bring as many good architects to Poland as possible. That's all about ŁADNIE Foundation, that we want to connect, we want to bring the best, because sometimes it's what Regina said, that you think that Czech is good, but then it turns out that it's Middle Ages comparing to what you are doing and what World is doing. So I love those festivals that you can go around.
That's not what I like what you say, because we were talking about how to create somehow conviction to other Polish or other people that certain new steps are needed and are good. So you make a prototype and you say you prove some things, and then, oh, wait a minute, it's cheaper also, and it's nice. So and it can be copied. Exactly, that's the point. But how to find the space, opportunities, possibilities, clients that really want to do this kind of prototypes. And since developers have to compete, they also, some of them want to do something different, and they get more attention, more value. So I do think there is a mechanism there that, so beside the apocalyptic strategy, also is the build-up strategy that you are aiming for. Secondly, of course, I love to hear, because you saw the lecture 15 years ago now, and you told me also that that you were inspired when you saw my new peace sign on top of your mountain on the Dreilenderpunkt of Ukraine, Poland, and Slovakia, where I was so frustrated when I went up, and I couldn't see anything. It was like, so I want to do three small paths basically, but then that are straight on small columns that punch through the forest, so that you have a view towards Slovakia or a view to
in those
place
where three countries are
together, and to make that and to see, okay, but then because you're doing also such a project, and then you forgot the ring. Which was more into Mercedes than into peace.
Well, the thing is that you inspired me so hard, because at first, to tell you that the plot was smaller, and the plot was smaller, and we could only do the shape of the building, which and it was important because of the energy collection. That we designed the building in that way that it's having a photovoltaic, but in the moment that you need it, because people are coming to this facility after work, so it's more west oriented. So it's not only south but southwest, and the shape is perfect to the whole building that is moving exactly like the sun. Even there. It's a long story, but
it's a long story.
To make short, is that thanks that we had such approach, the city liked it so much that they expanded our job, and now we have space to make the ring. Okay. So there will be, because Winy said that the next time he hopes that maybe when he will flying over Poland, he will see the peace sign. So it's possible only if you will cross through Resovia city, because it might happen. So
let's see who is the first.
And it's actually, to be honest, Resovia is an incredible city, because during the Ukrainian crisis, that when the war started, the full war started. In 22, they were open for all the people who are fleeing from the war zone, and they were so open-hearted, and for 2 years, Resovia became new capital of Poland. Biden came, and all the Macron and everyone was there, and the people were trying to help. This was the first place that people from Ukraine were coming, and people have such a warm heart. So it could be a nice sign that peace that everyone are searching for.
I mean, I would like to underline the fact that the eastern part of Europe becomes more important in the coming times, because of in order to stabilize each other, in order to collaborate, in order to have sufficient amount of people to deal with it
and contribute to European Union, because
I think Poland will be also. I mean, I see, of course, you have more investments than ever before, and that's growing. I see that tendency also in the Czech Republic. Not yet in Slovakia because of political reasons, but but Czech Republic is aspiring for that. I was happy to make this CISA2 study together with Regina and others to say how good is Czech Republic at this very moment, and comparing the Czech Republic with all the places in Europe, we found out, but it produces so much CO2. The pollution in the water is so much higher than other countries. And in many other elements, it shows that it's very average. And if you want to be the best of the class, and what to do, then you have a program.
In Poland, there was a small helping program. I mean, actually, it was like that with photovoltaic. That when you were building a photovoltaic for private purposes, you did not need to build a battery. The system was your battery, and you just pay 20% of the energy that you put in as a cost.
Very good one.
So the government thought that they will achieve a certain amount of energy from the solar panel, from the photovoltaic from the people in 2035. It turns out that this goal was achieved in 2022. So they canceled the program. And that's really painful. So we were trying to tell people, just do it.
I think you have to, because it's true, how to make a good landing of a certain policy is that you don't stop it abruptly, but do it dampening it out. So that take 5 years because I understand the financial system changes in this case over time, and success is there to dampen out instead of a kind of shock therapy.
Exactly.
So
But they were the government was shocked that they achieved something 10 years before the time. So, but it shows the might of people that if they can contribute to the whole economy of the country, they can change the approach to energy in quite a simple way, because it was not.
No, that's true.
In only a couple of years, I think, like 3 years.
I think in the end, energy costs zero. Yeah. And if that happens, I think then maybe there is an ultimate level of liberty coming up. And what kind of urbanism comes out of that? Because then suburbanity could come. I warn you for that. I think we have to prepare ourselves for that momentum.
But during your presentation, you show us also this idea, which also drives me crazy now. It doesn't keep me. It keeps me awake during the night. Is that you show me the architecture that moves. I mean, and it's more organic, and I start thinking about biological. That it could be transparent, it could open like a plant, and when the sun is shining, it's opening like a flower. So it's doable, I guess.
It takes a while, so I think it's still 100 years ago. But on the other hand, what I show in the upcoming book, Biotopia, that we are already undertaking parts of that process. But on the other hand, we are not aware of the potential, and we don't work on the direction of all these symptoms together, and that's what this book is about, and to imagine that this kind of fusion will come.
So Winy, I'm very grateful that you came and that for this opportunity for our viewers. We just arrived to airport, so we have to finish, but I hope it's not the end, it's just the beginning of a great story, and it was a pleasure having you. So if you like it, please comment, subscribe, of course, but you can comment, and we will try to reach to Winy, so maybe he can answer your questions. So please do so, and see you in next episode. So see you around.